When Cha Eun-woo's name is mentioned, what comes to the public's mind is not only the handsome idol of the boy group ASTRO or the talented young actor who starred in a number of popular dramas, but also the figure of a loving child who still maintains a warm relationship with his family despite the toughest situations. Now, after serving her mandatory military service, a heartwarming story comes to the surface about how Eun-woo, under the striped uniform attached to her body, wrote a loving message for her mother. A simple message, but it shook the hearts of many who knew it. The story begins with an ordinary moment in a military barracks. In the midst of busy physical training, tight schedules, and hard discipline, there are quiet times given for the soldiers to rest. At that moment, Eun-woo picks up a pen and a piece of paper, then writes a sentence that will become a highlight. The message he wrote was not just a series of words, but a reflection of the heart of a child to his mother whom he missed. In her message, Eun-woo writes of her longing for home, the warmth of family, and especially the figure of the mother. He wrote that he did well in the military, although sometimes it was hard to endure longing. He also wrote of his gratitude for being lovingly educated since childhood. Those words not only belong to Eun-woo, but also represent thousands of other young soldiers who are undergoing military service, away from their families, holding back longing, but still steadfast in order to carry out their duties as citizens. News of Eun-woo's message to her mother first emerged after a military source close to the idol revealed that Eun-woo was known to write letters to her family. Not once, not even a few times a month, he took the time to write to his heart's content. Every time he got a chance, he wrote a letter. He's not the type to talk a lot about himself, but through his writing, he can express his deepest feelings. The source said, "It didn't take long. The news spread widely. Army, a term for K-pop fans, although different fandoms, were touched. Aroha, as ASTRO fans are called, are excited and proud of their idols. They are busy talking about how Eun-woo, behind the camera and the glitter of the entertainment world, still shows her human side that is so sincere." When this news came into the spotlight, the Korean media began to dig deeper. Some media even reported the contents of some of the messages Eun-woo wrote. One of them reads, "Iyama, I'm fine here. Don't worry. I learned a lot, including how to appreciate the little things that I used to ignore. I miss your cooking, your smile, and your hugs. Thank you for always praying for me. I will come back stronger." That simple sentence left the public speechless. There is real sincerity. There is pure longing. There is a sincere love of a child to the mother. Many Korean netizens wrote Haru's comments. "Eun-woo is not only handsome on the outside, but also has a very beautiful heart," wrote one netizen. "Hearing a big idol write such a simple thing made me cry. I think of my son who is also in the army," wrote another. For a mother, of course, the message is a priceless gift. Eun-woo's mother, who has rarely been exposed to the media, reportedly shed tears when she read the letter. According to a close neighbor of the family, Eun-woo's mother seems to be praying more and more every night, praying for her son's health to stay strong to complete his military service. He always said, "Eun-woo doesn't just belong to the family, but also belongs to many people. He must be strong for the sake of everyone who loves him," said one of the neighbors. On the other hand, fans began to talk about the deeper meaning of this message. Many judge that Eun-woo's letter is a mirror of the inner pressure of an artist who is used to living in a glamorous world, then suddenly has to adapt to the rigors of military life. Eun-woo, accustomed to being surrounded by cameras, spotlights, and fans, now finds herself waking up early in the morning, running in the hot sun, and living a life without privileges. In that situation, the relationship with the family becomes the only great strength. Eun-woo's message also sparked a discussion among fans about the importance of maintaining relationships with parents. Many are inspired to write letters or simply call their mothers after reading Eun-woo's story. "I cried reading this story. I called my mom right away. I said I miss him," wrote a fan on social media. However, behind this Haru story, there are also challenges that Eun-woo faces in the military. According to reports, he was a tough and adaptable soldier, but that doesn't mean he never had difficulties. At the beginning of the training period, Eun-woo is said to have had difficulty adjusting to the tight rhythm of the military. His body, accustomed to the artist's schedule, suddenly had to adapt to the hard routine. But thanks to the determination and encouragement of his family and fans, he is slowly making his way through. The message to her mother became a symbol that Eunwoo not only survived for her own sake, but also for the sake of those she loved. He wanted his mother to know that he was okay, that he was strong, and that he could get through this. She knew that a mother always had great worries, and with that letter, she wanted to lighten the burden of her mother's heart a little. This story later spread abroad. International media began to highlight the humanist side of Korean idols. They saw how the usual glamorous life shown on the stage turned out to be inversely proportional to the harsh life in the military. Eunwoo is a vivid example of how even a great artist is just a child who misses his mother when away from home. Cha Eun-woo's message to his mother in the midst of his life as a conscript soldier became one of the most touching stories of a South Korean celebrity in recent years. Amid a glittering entertainment world that is usually filled with cheering spectators, hysterical shouts of fans, and camera flashes, Eunwoo is now standing in the same position as thousands of other Korean youth, wearing striped uniforms, waking up early in the morning, eating a simple menu in a military canteen, and sleeping in a cold barracks bunk bed. He is no longer an artist with all the luxuries, but a child of the nation who is obliged to carry out his duties, just like everyone else. And behind that simplicity of military life, there is a great longing for home, especially in the figure of the mother who has been the greatest source of strength for him. The message Eunwoo sends to her mother becomes a small door that opens her inner world. He wrote sentences simply, not in the style of a great artist, but with the humility of a child. The sentences he wrote repeatedly emphasized that he was fine, that he was strong, and that his mother had nothing to worry about. But behind those words, anyone could feel how deep the longing he was enduring. For a mother, every sentence from her son in the military is not just a series of words, but a cure for longing, as well as a reinforcement for the prayers that she prays every night. There was a happy cry when reading it, there was a relieved smile, but there was also a feeling of sadness because the distance that separated them could not be broken just like that. In an unofficial interview with a close relative, it was revealed that Eunwoo's mother always kept the letters in a small box in her house. He often reread it at nightfall when the house was quiet. His hand trembled every time he unfolded the paper, as if he were grasping his now distant son. He repeatedly tells his relatives that every sentence Eunwoo writes is the most precious gift in his life. My son is always busy, rarely writes when he is still active as an artist. But in the military, he wrote sincerely. That's why the letter is so precious to me, he said with teary eyes. For fans, this story is not only about Eunwoo, but also about the human side of an idol that they usually only see on the screen. Aroha, ASTRO's fandom, filled social media with thousands of messages of support. Many of them wrote that they felt the same way when they had to part with their families. Some say that Eunwoo's letter makes them want to appreciate their parents more. This wave of emotion that emerges from a simple letter shows that the relationship between artists and fans often goes beyond the stage and the music. They are connected by emotion, by genuine love, by a universal experience of life, longing for home and family. Eunwoo's military life is also in the spotlight. Reports indicate that he was a disciplined and adaptable soldier. He never asked for special treatment, although his status as a big celebrity could have led him to be treated differently. His colleagues in the military call Eunwoo a humble person and does not hesitate to help others. He is often seen encouraging his exhausted friends, even dividing the small meals he receives from family packages. All these things show that behind the image of a great artist, he remains an ordinary young man who knows how to share and strengthen others.